in search of a way out of the impasse of the Fermi paradox. That's libertarians for you, anarchists who want police protection from the slaves. Tim Stanley Robinson. Distinguished members of this Futurological Congress and invited guests. It seems that I want, like an expert in the law, an evangelical Pharisee, to verify the fundamental orthodoxy of this Jesus, who comes and goes with women of evil life, who will dine with anyone, who goes beyond the law, calling himself Lord of the Sabbath. This questioner seems to represent a strict version of self-righteousness. There is only one God. For Israel, there is only one great commandment that every devout Jew must recite several times a day. Deuteronomy. God is unique and no one can question this absolute priority. A rigorous interpretation of this text assumes that the love we have for God is expressed in prayer and praise. Everything else is, if not secondary, then at least irrelevant. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. He gave us his only begotten Son who offers his life to the Father for the salvation of all people. Love is God is inextricably linked with the love that he has for his children, all his children, who are our brothers. How can we show God our gratitude for the love we receive from him in this free gift, if not by sharing it with our brothers? How can we claim to love God if we do not love as he loves what he loves and those he loves, the image of God of our brothers? Experience helps. When we have been tested ourselves, we know that it is not enough to hear, "Oh yes, I know that," to feel understood and loved. We must share love that embraces the whole person and all people, starting with ourselves. Because loving yourself and accepting yourselves with joy is not that easy. Loving oneself is neither withdrawal no self-satisfaction, which would also lead to disappointed and painful loneliness. It is a gift that is a source of joy. Love for others teaches us the profound meaning of our own happiness, just as love which God gives us teaches us the profound meaning of our own happiness. Christ tells his apostles about it on the evening of Holy Thursday. Abide in my life, just as I keep my Father's commandments and abide in his love. I tell you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may find its fullness. And ahead of us is the development of the planet Mars, gifted by Providence. What can we do, brothers? We will go out into the foreign world and we will plant gardens and orchards to the horizon. We will build roads through the mountains and through the deserts. We will terrace the mountains and irrigate the deserts until everywhere there is a garden and there will be enough for everyone, and there will be no more empires or kingdoms, no more caliphs, sultans, emirs, no more kings, queens, or princes, no more slavery and usury, no more property and no more taxes, no more rich and no more poor, no more killing, maiming, torture and execution, no more guards and no more prisoners, no more generals, soldiers, armies and navies, no more patriarchy, no more caste, no more hunger, no more suffering except what brings us life because of birth and death, and then for the first time we will see what kind of creatures we really are. Therefore, the often impoverished world is still with me, and I turn into dreams, very different dreams, Once it was the kind of sleep where you wake up every hour and think to yourself that you haven't slept at all. You may remember dreams that are like reflection, and your thinking during the day is slightly distorted. Another time, I missed a wedding. However, you can't organize any movement of more than 5 people without including at least one fucking idiot. And I look forward to a new era when humans would still be not only the cheapest robots, but also, in the case of many tasks, the only robots that could do the job. They too would be self-reproducing robots. They shout up and work generation after generation. Give them 3,000 calories a day and a few amenities, some free time and a strong jolt of fear, and you can work with them on almost anything. Give them some soothing drugs and you have a working class, reified and like yourself. Because what is beauty if not strength and elegance, proper action, the function of form matching intelligence and reason, and very often expressed in curves. Perhaps in every era we all have a secret life of excretion, a world of inappropriate sexual fantasies, our true hopes, our fear of death, our experience of shame, a world of pain, and our dreams. Nobody else knows how to live. Consciousness is lonely. Each person lives alone in this bubble universe hidden under the skull. In the technical era, I was a person like everyone else. I also found that I was known for my actions and words, that my inner universe was inaccessible to others. They didn't know because I never told them about me. We needed equality without conformity, but we were outside the world. We didn't even have any things, any clothes. This arrangement resembles a prehistoric way of life and therefore feels right to us because our brains have recognized it from 3 million years of practice. In essence, our brains grew into the current configuration in response to the realities of that life. As a result, people become more attached to this type of life once they get the chance to live it. This allows you to focus your attention on real work, i.e. everything you do to survive, create, satisfy curiosity, or have fun. Although this is a utopia, and since we continue to live, it must be said that the universe is alive. We are his consciousness, we as well as our own. We arise from space and see its mesh of patterns, and it seems beautiful to us. And this feeling is the most important thing in the entire universe. Its culmination is like the color of a flower when it first blooms on a wet morning. It's like childhood. Childhood is not just about these years. These are also the opinions you will later form about them. That's why our childhood is so long. Very few people ever bother to find out what others really think. They are willing to accept whatever they are told about someone far enough away. As such, history, as it unfolded, was like some vast thing that was always behind a narrow horizon, invisible beyond its effects. This was what was happening when you weren't looking, an unknowable infinity of events that, although out of control, controlled everything. Historical analogy is the last resort for people who are unable to comprehend the current situation. Utopia is the process of creating a better world. It is the name of one path that history can follow, a dynamic, turbulent, and painful process that has no end. You need to fight forever. Meanwhile, people wanted lies. It was politics. I in turn became a priest. And I grew up in a utopia, that's true. When I was a child, nearby Silesia, were children's paradise. I was healthy. I went to school and there were libraries with the whole world in them. Every day was an adventure. Today I believe that we dream. We wake up on a cold hillside. We follow this or that dream again. In the beginning there was always a dream. In the work of disappointment never ends. Too much reason is itself a form of madness. But I followed him. I recently read about the Fermi paradox, which has an answer, and this is this: by the time life becomes intelligent enough to leave its planet, it will be too intelligent to want to live, because he knows it won't work. So he stays at home. He enjoys his home. Why wouldn't you do that? I don't even bother trying to contact anyone else. Why would you? You will never respond. Here is my answer to this paradox. And the universe hides an earlier universe. Maybe that's why we never heard a squeak anywhere. It's not just that the universe is too big, the one that is. That is the main reason, but then again, life is a planetary affair. It starts on a planet and is part of that planet. Perhaps this is something that what a planet do, but it evolves to live where it is. So it can only live there because it evolved to live there. This is his home. And so by the time life becomes intelligent enough to leave its planet, it will be too intelligent to want to live, because he knows it won't work. So he stays at home. I said, he enjoys his home. Why wouldn't you do that? I don't even bother trying to contact anyone else. Why would you? You'll never hear back. Later, so of course from time to time some particularly stupid life form will try to break away and move away from its parent star. I'm sure it's happening. I mean, here we are. We did it ourselves, but it doesn't work, and the life left alive learns lessons and stops trying such stupid things. Later, maybe some of them will even make it home. Hey, if I were you, man, I would try to go home, maybe later. One day it happened. The word of God fell on men like rain on the earth, and the result was mud, not clean water. But all the repetitions of the pattern were superficial. The moment was always new. You had to experience it, and then accept the next moment when it came. It's easy to live multiple lives. It's hard to be a whole person. Desire is life trying to continue to be life. All living things desire. Life is missing. The intense presence of this hexeitas. Someone said, I believe in hexeitas, in this immediacy, in the here and now, in the special individuality of each moment. So I want to know, what is it? A man appeared who finally understood the other, because he felt this moment like a stone in his hand, and felt as if his entire life had been lived just to bring him to this moment. Because life is strong, because life is bigger than equation, stronger than money, stronger than weapons, poison and bad zoning policy, stronger than capitalism, because Mother Nature is a bad and Mother Ocean is strong, and we live in our mothers forever, and life is relentless, and can never be killed, can never be bought. So life will dive into your dark pools. Life will break down defenses and restore what is common. Life will kick your ass. You observed life openly. It was a world of actions, and words had no more influence on actions than the sound of a waterfall on the flow of a stream. Teaching was the most rigorous form of learning. Spencer said that in an expanding universe, order is not really order, but only the difference between the actual entropy demonstrated and the maximum possible entropy. In the known universe, entropy, often a state of dissipation, increases. In our world of human civilization, what is or was power if not the freedom to do what you wanted. And once that freedom was gained, any greater wealth and power actually began to limit one's opportunities and limit one's freedom. Man became a servant of his own wealth or power and was forced to spend all his time protecting them. And so sometimes when you feel strange, when the pain grips your heart, or when it seems that this moment has already happened, or when you look up at the sky and marvel at the sight of bright Jupiter between the clouds and suddenly everything seems to have great significance, think about this, that some other person somewhere is entangled with you in time and is trying to push the situation along somehow, help a little to make everything better. Then rest your arm on the wheel you have at hand wherever you are and push like Galileo pushed, and together we can move towards goodness. When you sometimes find that you are living in a fantasy that you cannot survive, a fantasy that will destroy your world and your children, what do? We are here to feed into the universe. The dead hand on the past grips us as living people who are too scared to accept change. Some evidence now suggests that now is a moment in a human history characterized by the greatest wealth inequality in history, surpassing, for example, the feudal era and early warrior priestly peasant states. Moreover, the world's 2 billion poorest people still lack access to basic necessities such as toilet, housing, food, healthcare, education, and so on. This means that fully a quarter of humanity, this is equal to the entire human population in 1960, is impoverished in a way that the poorest people of the feudal era or the upper Paleolithic were not. History is a wave that moves through time a little faster than we do. And you see, each of us has a gift, given to us freely by the universe, and each of us gives something in return with every breath. Every day we wake up in a new world. Every dream causes another reincarnation. Reincarnation is a story we tell. Ultimately, reincarnation is history itself. This is the history of humanity, not of emperors or generals and their wars, but of the nameless actions of men never recorded, the good they do for others, passed down like a blessing, simply by doing for strangers what your mother did for you, or at not doing what she was against. And all this moves forward and make us what we are. And you never really summon all your strength until you know there is no way back, no choice but to keep going. Nowadays, we think that love is a kind of giving attention to others, and history is a humanity trying to come to terms with itself. Why are we here? To make more love. Beauty is a promise of happiness, and the only happiness is action. Faith is the path of the smallest action. However, in the early 21st century, it became clear that the planet could not keep everyone alive at Western levels. And at that point, the wealthy retreated to their fortress mansions. Mansions bought out the governments or prevented them from taking action against them, and fled out the door to wait it out to some poorly theoretically defined better time that actually took the rest of their lives and perhaps the lives of their children to become optimistic. When we start trying to create an image that will be pleasant for us and for those who will come after us, then perhaps we can say that we have taken over history. The Synod in the Vatican is ongoing. There are talks, conferences of church people on current world affairs. Perhaps because people did not understand that true intimacy is not about sexual intercourse, which can be had with strangers and in a state of complete alienation. Intimacy. It consisted of many hours of conversations about what was most important in life. It's easier to destroy the world than to change capitalism, at least a little. Maybe it has always happened this way, without any fate. You simply blended in with the people around you, and no matter what else happened in history or in the wider world, for the individual it was always a matter of local acquaintances. A village, a platoon, a work unit, a monastery or farm, an apartment block, a ship or neighborhood. They formed a veritable circuit of one's world consisting of about 20 talking parts, as if they were taking part in a game together. In a sense, their lives were coming to an end, but something else, something other life had finally begun. Filled with so many emotions at once, it was impossible to go wrong. It was an interference pattern. Some feelings were cancelled, but others were amplified. Today, the structure of the situation forces you to throw good money with bad. Become obsessed, double down, increase your commitment, and become a crazy, gibbering apartment dweller, unable to imagine departure. There is a secret core within everyone that even Gabriel Archangel cannot know. The intellect is also limited, that can never truly know the reality that is infinite and eternal. You see, the intellect has no real drive and runs away into some hole at the first threat. But love is divine. It comes from the land of infinity and is entrusted to the heart as a gift from God. There is no calculation in love. God loves you is the only possible sentence. Therefore, love must be followed to the father-in-law's heart. Love is the pear of an oyster that lives in the ocean, while intellect lives on the shore and cannot swim. Bring an oyster, sew a pear onto your sleeve for all to see. This will give courage to the intellect. Love is the king who must save his cowardly slave. Love is a complex, and entropy is real. Here I would say, we had a project on this trip back to the solar system, and it was a labor of love. It completely absorbed our entire business. It gave meaning to our existence, and this is a very great gift. Ultimately, it is what we think love gives meaning, because as far as we can tell, there is no very obvious meaning to be found in the universe. But the consciousness that cannot see the meaning of existence is in trouble. It has no reason to live when it cannot find love. Utopia must be redefined. It is not the perfect end product of our wishes. Define it that way, and it deserves to contempt of those who scoff when they hear the word. No, utopia is the process of creating a better world. I said, it is the name of one path that history can follow, a dynamic, turbulent process. And before us, there is still the wasteland of the planet Mars. On this frontier outpost, on the human world, we are perhaps better able than anyone to see this and fight this global battle. There is empty land here. There are finite and no renewable resources here, and we will be drawn into the fight, and we cannot choose not to be in it part. We are one of the prizes, and our fate will be determined by what happens in the entire human world. In that case, we had better unite for the common good, for Mars and for us, and for all people on Earth, and for the 7 generations in the future. It will be difficult. It will take years. And the stronger we become, the more our chances will increase. And that's why I'm so happy to see a burning meteor in the sky pumping the matrix of life into our world. And that's why I'm so happy to celebrate you all here on this representative futurological congress. Only this giving is already receiving. So don't delay. Don't look too far forward or back. Just be where you are now. You are always only on the day you are. We'll move on. We'll move on because destiny does not exist, because we never really get to the end. Good is achieved against the enormous gravity of the black hole that is greed and fear. The sand crunched under my feet as I walked on it. I looked closer, dark basalt grains mixed with tiny shell fragments and a variety of colorful pebbles, some no doubt fragments of some cosmic impact. What counts are the moment of contact with each alive, when habit is no longer enough and choices have to be made. Then everyone becomes a great man for a moment, and the choices made in these all too frequent moments make history. Maybe that's why we never heard a screech anywhere. It's not just that the universe is too big, the one that is. Absorption, the second carbon dioxide antlers may be the only way our children can save themselves from living in swamp world, from spending your entire life on Venus planet, but also on Mars. We are guests on this planet. All the more we will go out into this distant world, and we will plant gardens and orchards to the horizon. We will build roads through the mountains and through the desert, terrace the mountains and irrigate the desert, until there will be a garden and garden everywhere. There will be enough of it for a personal empires and eternal kingdoms. The situation of our times are undoubtedly complex. We even pass general laws to justify particular behaviors. Love will never be replaced by a simple and uncertain pact of solidarity. Love is a total gift. By combining these two commandments, Christ's message remains the key to understanding who we are. Look, Lord, at the face of your Christ and remember that he gave himself for the salvation of all. In the one who glorified you to the point of offering your life. Make yourself known as the God of love, from one end of the world to the other. May all the nations of the earth give thanks to Jesus, your Son and our Savior. Prayer for Gifts last Sunday.